Hey y'all, Joefer here, the Cranky Old Gay Guy. Today, I'm going to be talking about queues. And by queues, I mean lines, standing in line, waiting to get in somewhere. How it makes me cranky. This last weekend, there was this thing I saw advertised as an event on Facebook, and several people I know were going. And it was called European Holiday Market. I think that's what it was. And it was supposed to be crafters and artists all getting together in one spot and having like a big bazaar. And it was advertised on Facebook events, like I said, 11 to 4 or 10 to 4, something like that. I thought, well, I don't really want any of this stuff, but maybe I should go just to get out, be around people, be social. So I went around. I figured I don't want to get there in the morning rush. Get there around noon. That way, if there are crowds, they will have died down. Well, I got there at 2 o'clock. And not only was there a line, the line was almost 2 blocks. It had an entrance on like 9th Street or 10th Street. 10th Street? Yeah, about 10th. Anyway, and that line stretched from the entrance there all the way up to 9th Street, or excuse me, to 11th Street. 11th? 10th, 9th. I'm confused. Entrance was on 9th Street. The line went from 9th to 10th Street, and then 10th it went north a half a block. So that's almost 2 blocks worth of lines just to get into a crafter's mart. So I walked past the line, went up, saw where the entrance was. There were 2 or 3 food vendor trucks on this side street there, Salmon Street, and it was blocked off for that block. There was someone selling coffee, which, by the way, for a coffee cart, like a food cart, their coffee was affordable compared to any of the local coffee shops you go into. I was really kind of surprised at the prices. Did I buy any? No. Why? Because there was a line waiting to get it. So I walked around the building. I noticed the speed of the crowd. People had told me, oh, the line's moving really fast. Well, in that walk, they had let in maybe 5 people. And by that time, the line had even grown longer. So I don't know how quick it is. And then I went around to the 9th Street side, and you could see in some of the windows, it's like an apartment complex stacked up on an apartment complex. It's an entire block. It's a newer building. And the ground floor, I'm guessing it's an open event space, since that's where this was taking place. At this whole end of the block, the Salmon Side Street, it's pretty big. It's huge. And I could look through the windows and I saw people with their tables set up and, their knitting or candles or whatever they were selling. And it was really crowded in there. And I can't imagine wanting to be around that many people at one time. Now, I've gone to something else called Night Market, which is a seasonal crafters gift mart that takes place in the evenings in a warehouse area down the street from there. And I had heard so much about it, and oh, it was wonderful and how much fun and everything. But when I went, number one, you had to pay to get in. Wasn't a lot of money, but you still had to pay to get in. And I thought, well, that's kind of a ripoff, because you're here to pay the crafters, you're not here to pay who's ever at the door. But I do understand rent needs to be paid for the space, but I would think since the crafters are paying a fee to set up their tables, that fee's already paid. Anyway, beside the point, I did go in there. It was also very crowded. A lot of, what I want to say, nothing there that was being sold was anything that I would ever want, either as a gift or to give as a gift. Everything also was overpriced. I don't need a handmade coffee cup for $48, okay? I can go to a store and spend $2 or $3 on a nice looking mug, or go to a Dollar Tree and spend $1.25. I mean, it's a mug, for gosh sakes. Just not my cup of tea. And it was not like an art show. I didn't go in, I didn't see paintings and original artworks. I saw crafts. Crafts, and imported items that were being pushed as if they were homegrown. They didn't say, I knitted this sweater, but they would say, oh, it's organic, family made, and blah, 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 blah. But the person selling it is just a wholesaler. They bought it probably online in bulk, and now they're trying to move the product. It's all about sales. I get that. But to present it as a crafter's mart, as if, because I think one of the signs was, meet the artist, meet your creator. And people were selling things that they didn't create. So that kind of, back. I would say, yeah, it made me cranky. Did I have a cranky channel then? No. But was I feeling cranky? Yes. In fact, I was much more cranky at night market than I was at this European market bazaar thing that I didn't get into. Also, parking was horrible. It was all street parking. Even though there were some lots available, that businesses, it was a weekend, so it wasn't anywhere there for business, but they had the lots blocked off so you couldn't park in them. Oh boy, what more to say? A lot of people were really jonesing to get in this place. They were super excited. I can't imagine why. I also watched several people as they came out, because when people came out, they let more people go in. And because I loitered for 15 minutes or so, just walking around the area, and people that were coming out didn't have bags or armfuls of stuff. So I don't know how profitable this was for the people who were actually selling. Now, in my little 15-minute jaunt, I walked down the block and I noticed there were stairs that went up between this building, and the building next to it was also apartments. I guess it's apartments. I know the higher levels are apartments. They all had balconies. But the lower level, I don't know what is under. When I went up the stairs, the building with the building with the craft market was on the right, with apartments above it, an apartment tower. And then on the left, there was an apartment tower, and the 1 or 2 stories that I climbed stairs to get above, I don't know what's in that part because I didn't go to that end of the block. Up on I guess it would be the 3rd floor if you were actually counting floors, there is a restaurant or bar, and then there's a little alley, curvy alley that goes between the 2 apartment towers, and there is like a hair salon on one side and a coffee house on the other side, and then a couple spaces that are vacant. And I thought it was a pretty cool design for a new building, in that it's not just an apartment complex. It actually gives people who live there a space to congregate and shop if they want to shop, or have coffee there, drink, or whatever. And it's also high enough that it gives you a view of the city downtown. And the steps that I went up were on the west side of the building, and there were like 3 levels of stairs to get to what would be the 3rd floor. And at the top of each one of these little levels, it was terraced, so people could sit on the cement walls and enjoy the view. And then on every level, there was an actual bench. If you didn't want to sit down on the cement itself, there was a wooden bench. And there was somebody sitting there sunning themselves. Even though it was like 41 degrees, they were sitting out there sunning themselves. Good for them, getting your vitamin D. So I thought that the complex itself was an interesting idea, and it wasn't just blocks of apartments. And there are new apartment complexes and buildings all over this part of Southeast Portland. It's really built up. It was vacant for years, called the goat blocks, because there were goats that were kept there. A company that has goats that will go out and have them mow down your field or mow down all the berries on the side of a hill or whatever. That was their home, is that they were housed in the goat blocks, and that's where it got its name. They were eventually booted out because, prices rise and developers want to develop, and the city wants tax revenue. So they were out, they moved somewhere else, and that whole area, it's not open anymore. It's apartment complexes. There is one block that isn't built up yet, and it is dozens of food trucks in that space. And it's got a metal fence that wraps around the whole block. But the fence, there's 2 fences that are, that far apart, and they're filled with big crushed or big broken rocks. So you couldn't shoot through it, you couldn't knock it over. These things are really permanent. It's a cool looking design as well. And then when you actually go through the big metal gates to get in, then you see it's just a village of food carts. That seems to be pretty popular. I haven't actually gone in, eaten there since, I did it, I think the second year of COVID I was in there. And it was even busy then. Back to the annoyance. Lines, queues, can't take them. If I have to wait, more than 15 minutes to get in somewhere, I would rather just not go. It's the same with restaurants. I don't get people who want to go out for brunch and they get there and then they spend 40 minutes to an hour standing on the sidewalk waiting for a table. Just go somewhere else. It's just food. Okay? Gravy and biscuits. That's Pine Street is a pretty popular place over here by me. It's not my thing. I don't like gravy of any kind, so I would never have biscuits and gravy. But people will line up to get in there and because they want breakfast or brunch. There are a dozen or more restaurants within walking distance of the place that has biscuits and gravy. Go to one that doesn't have a line. Oh, you might think it's not great because it doesn't have a line. Well, what's great about standing in line for 45 minutes to an hour? Especially if you're hungry. That's just crazy. It eats up your whole day. You get nothing accomplished except getting cranky from standing in line. But brunch is not my thing either, as long as I'm on a crank rise here. I don't get brunch. Is it for people who've stayed out all night, who don't wake up till 10:30 or 11 o'clock? Why isn't that called breakfast? I mean, if their day starts at 11, then that's when their breakfast is. So they don't need to go out and get brunch. Speaking for myself, I'm not speaking for them. And I'm hungry when I get up in the morning. I need to eat within like 20 or 30 minutes of getting up because otherwise it just delays your day. And I got a lot I want to accomplish in a day. And I can't imagine waking up at 10 o'clock and then taking 2 or 3 hours before you eat. And then it's already the afternoon. You got 2 or 3 hours left of sunlight. And what are you going to do? I mean, your day's shot. My energy period is in the morning. It's not after 1 or 2 in the afternoon. No, when the sun starts to set or it starts to get dim, my energy just drains out. So that's not my thing. But we were talking about queues. And when I say queue, I know that's a British term for line, but I've been using it for a long time because it just, I don't know. When I think of a line, I don't think of a line of people. I think of a line on a piece of paper. And when I say queue, I mean, unless you're a pool player, you're not going to think of a pool cue. You're going to think of a line, right? That's how I think. Okay, I blattered on again. Enough. And although I'm not seemingly cranky, believe me, I was very cranky. And I do get cranky rather quickly when I'm faced with a wait in a line, be it a grocery store, which are usually not more than 5 or 10 minutes, but still, you're standing there. You want to get out. Concerts, waiting for a concert or waiting for a movie. Oh, those days are so behind me. Maybe when I was 25 or 26 and I had energy and felt excitement to go to these things, but I would rather stay home and watch a movie on TV than go stand in line at a theater to see it. Call me old-fashioned, as long as you call me. All right, that's all I got to say. I'm going to let y'all go. This has been Joefer, the Cranky Old Gay Guy, saying I will see you all tomorrow on Tuesday. Bye-bye.
Wasting time, feet are aching, patience breaking. Every step feels like a crime. Tired of the same old faking. Hungry hearts and empty plates. Faces stuck in the same old fate. Waiting under neon lights for a meal to end my climb. Standing in the line of fire. This queue just takes me higher. My patience burning like a fire in this endless line of desire. People chatter about the day, but my mind is far away, thinking about the way you smile, lost in thoughts just for a while. I'm a puppet in this game, playing roles